and welcome to my channel. Today I'm discussing the basics of raising backyard chickens so you can decide if it is a good fit before you start buying a coop, supplies, and chickens, etc. If you've been on the fence and wondering if you should get into raising chickens, this video is for you and will help you decide. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Jara and I primarily teach people how to garden and grow food, but I also like to make videos about my other interests that are extremely helpful if you have a garden. Plus, if you're gardening, most likely you're interested or have thought about other homesteading types of hobbies that complement gardening, like keeping chickens and bees. So why get chickens? Well, there are many reasons. I'm concerned about raising food costs. If you remember a few winters ago, egg prices skyrocketed. I want to be more self-sufficient. I want to eat higher quality and more nutritious food. And I don't want to support the unhealthy and unethical conditions of the majority of commercial egg farms. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them. However, my most favorite reason of all is that the biggest help in my garden is not from another human, it's from my chickens. After a few months into keeping chickens, I became aware of their awesome ability to work the land. They forage and eat plants, weeds, seeds, bugs, everything in their vicinity. In a matter of weeks, they cleared out their coop area down to my native soil, all the while kicking up the soil, basically tilling it for me, making it nice and fluffy, and fertilizing it with their poop. It was perfectly clean to start planting a garden. Not only are my chickens a wonderful garden helper, but they provide me with eggs too. That is why I say, if you're a gardener and can have chickens, do it. And I'm sorry for all the noise, they're very loud. I got these chickens about 2 years ago after many years of just thinking about it. I was worried that they would be too much work and I was not sure where to start. I finally made the decision to give it a try and I'm so happy I did. So if you're on the fence, I hope you seriously consider getting some chickens. They are the best pet I ever had up until a few weeks ago when I just got my new puppy Teddy here. But I still love my chickens just as much. And with the right setup, they're easier to take care of and require less maintenance than cats or even dogs like Teddy. For real, and I'll show you the systems I have in place to make it very easy throughout this video. Initially, I just wanted chickens for fresh eggs and as a fun way to involve my son and other family members with more outdoor activities. I started with a tiny coop and just 12 chickens, and now it has exploded into a huge coop with I don't know how many chickens. I think I have 30-ish egg-laying hens. I'm not 100% sure how many I have. It is too hard to count them because they don't sit still long enough. Chicken math is a real thing, okay? And just so you know, I'm not breaking any rules. This land is in the country with no limits. The majority of my videos are filmed at my home, which is a tiny piece of land in an HOA community, and I can't have chickens or bees there. I am very fortunate that my aunt has this property in the country and she likes the same hobbies as me. So she lets me have chickens and bees here. Okay, let's discuss the basics. Like, what do you need to know about raising chickens so you can make that decision? And hopefully it's a yes decision. Number one, check your city and county rules. If you're in city limits, there probably are some rules. You might not be able to have chickens at all, or maybe you can have a few hens but no roosters. Sometimes they require inspections and permits too. If you're outside city limits, then most of the time there are no rules, just as long as the animals are taken care of and your neighbors don't complain. I would call your city council or department and ask. Make sure you know the rules before you start spending money and building stuff only to find out you can't have them. In Florida, we have a great resource, and that's the County Extension Office. I'm not sure if other states have this, but in Florida, you can call your county extension office for help and info with a lot of things from gardening to raising livestock. The extension offices are managed by the University of Florida as a way to disperse information out to the public. They host classes about beekeeping, will come out to your property to test your soil, help you start a farm if that's what you want to do. I go to them all the time. They will help you figure out the rules about chickens in your area too. Number two, if you're clear to have chickens, then you need to figure out how you will house them. A chicken coop is made of two parts. One, the coop, and two, the run. There are so many ways you can build a coop or run. You could very easily source free materials or recycle things so it doesn't cost a lot of money. My first coop for them was an old greenhouse made out of PVC hoops that no one was using. I just predator proofed it by covering it with 1/4-inch mesh hardware cloth. We ended up building another coop out of plywood because we got hit with a hurricane and the greenhouse coop was not safe for them. It literally took me hours to catch all of my chickens and put them in some dock cages so that we could put them inside of the house while the hurricane blew through. After that experience, I was like, we got to build something better for them. So keep that in mind when building a coop. Let's talk about the coop itself. The coop is their house, the structure that they go into at night to sleep. This needs to be 100% predator proof and protect them from the elements. The coop is where roosting bars and egg laying boxes go as well. General guidelines say to build 4 square feet of coop space per chicken. So if you have 6 chickens, plan to build a coop that is around 24 square foot at minimum. The coop needs a door for the chickens to come out into the run area during the day. The run is the area where the chickens hang out during the day and forage, which is all of this space right here. The run area is usually twice as big as a coop at minimum. The more run space, the better. If chickens don't have enough space, they get stressed out and fight with each other. If you're going to free range your chickens, then you don't need an enclosed run area like this, but predators during the day like hawks most likely will be an issue. If you have a garden, chickens will destroy it. So my run area is completely enclosed because we have gardens surrounding here. And I will link in the description to a lot of the supplies and things I use to make my coop and run. There are so many ways you can build a run area. I just attached chicken coop wire to a bunch of T-posts. I've used portable electric fences. You can get an old trampoline and cover it with wire. If you have a small coop, you can get a dog cage fence like this one from Amazon and just put it right over that small coop. I actually bought this large dog kennel fence thing from Amazon and attached wheels on it to make a portable coop. If I need sections of land cleared out, I load it with a few chickens and move them to an area of land for a couple of weeks. Also, chickens lay eggs according to the amount of daylight hours they get, so keeping portions of the run in full sun really helps. In hot climates like me here in Florida, build some shady spots so the chickens can stay cool during the summer. Another thing you need to think about is the flooring material for the coop. Ideally, you want the flooring to be something absorbent and sterile so it dries quickly, absorbs moisture and poop, and doesn't facilitate the growth of pathogens that can make the chickens sick. The perfect material that fits this bill is coarse sand, not fine play sand. It has to be the coarse sand because the chickens can breathe in the fine stuff and it will cause health issues. Sand absorbs everything, dries quickly, and is sterile for the most part. And you will barely have to clean the coop floor when using sand. Maybe add some more as time goes by to refresh the coop. Unfortunately, I could not find coarse sand locally, so I went with the next best thing, which is mulch or wood chips. If you can get a free wood chip delivery from Chip Drop, then awesome. And that's exactly what I have here. I got free wood chips, so I use that as the flooring in my coop. The mulch will help keep things dry, but eventually it will compost down mixed with the chicken poop, which will naturally fertilize the material. Eventually, I do have to scoop the stuff out and replace it as it composts down, which is fine. I will use it as compost around my garden. Some people like to use a deep bedding method, which is when you fill the entire coop with like pine shavings, like about 10 inches or more. That works very well because it is absorbent, but it breaks down very quickly in about like 1 month. So I have to clean out and replace the whole thing. This is great for smaller coops, but for a big one like mine, that would cost a lot more money and work having to replace it more frequently than using the mulch. Just saying. If I had a small coop, I would use the pine shavings because it's easy to go buy a couple bales of it at Tractor Supply. I'm sure there are a lot more materials that can be used to cover the floor, just giving you guys a few ideas. Main thing again is that the material is absorbent to keep everything dry. Number 3, you need some roosting bars. Chickens need roosting bars to sleep on at night. When it's getting dark or like dusk time, the chickens will naturally start coming back into their coop for protection as they sleep. So they need some bars to roost or perch on while they sleep. These bars need to be at least 3 or 4 feet off the ground because then predators can't reach them if they do get inside the coop. You can make roosting bars out of a million different things. I've used natural tree branches that are about 2 to 3 inches thick in diameter. I have used old ladders, but finally what I noticed is that my chickens really like 2x4 pieces of wood. The 2x4s are wide so they can lay their feet flat on the wood as opposed to wrapping or closing their claws and feet around a branch or something that is rounded. Health-wise, having their feet flat is better for them. So I just got a few 2x4s and attached them across my coop. A good rule of thumb is you need about 12 inches of roosting bar space per chicken. So if you have 6 chickens, you need a 6-foot long piece of roosting bar. If you can give them a little extra room, even better, because if they are too crowded, then they fight. Next, let's talk about food and water. Chickens need a clean water source and easy access at all times. Especially if you're in a hot climate like me, they need ample water. There are so many ways that you can water them, but you will probably have to dump and refill these every day to ensure there's plenty of clean water. Or you can make some automatic watering containers like this one right here. I took an old trash can and installed these little water cups. I have also installed these cups on 5-gallon buckets too, so you can make a smaller version. This keeps them watered for weeks and it has a lid so no dirt or debris can get in. If I go on vacation, I know they have plenty of water until I get back. I have a YouTube video tutorial showing how I built this, which I will link below in the description. As far as food, chickens pretty much eat anything except citrus, chocolate, sweets, and avocado seeds. Those things are just not good for them. There are not too many things that chickens can't eat, so we toss a lot of kitchen scraps to them. If I'm cleaning out or pruning my garden, I bring all of that leafy material over here to feed them. Various members of my family bring us kitchen scraps from their households too. If you have a setup to where you can move your chickens around to fresh patches of grass every few days, then they can forage grass and insects themselves, which helps cut down on feed costs tremendously. Some people just let their chickens roam free outside, this is how they are in the wild. They roam the land and go up into a tree to sleep at night. I honestly would do this, but this is my aunt's property and she works, so there's no one to keep an eye on them during the day. Make sure they don't get into our garden because they will eat and destroy everything, or go catch them if they go into the neighbor's yard. So if you have a lot of land and are present to just check up on them, that would be the way to go in my opinion. They take care of themselves and you don't need to feed them. That is the most natural, healthy, and cheap or free way to have chickens. However, that is not the case for many of us. Maybe you live in a city or don't have much land, or you have to keep them enclosed in a space to protect them from predators, so then they don't have access to forage food for themselves, so therefore you will have to feed them. Kitchen and garden scraps are great, but I can't generate that much scraps to feed them every day, so I do have to buy some chicken feed. A flock this size goes through about 4 to 6 40-pound bags of feed per month. I have a lot of chickens though. The average person might only have 5 or 6 chickens, so seriously, like 2 or 3 bags max is what you would need per month. I buy my feed from Tractor Supply. It costs around $13 per bag at the time of this video. So for me, that's about $78 a month in feed costs. On average, every couple of days, we harvest around 30-ish eggs. It depends on the time of year because they really slow down during the winter, whereas they produce like crazy in the spring and summer. Sometimes we harvest around 50-some eggs every couple of days. I don't want to scare you with the feed cost because I have an unnecessarily large flock for just one household, okay? We love having chickens. We still want more of them, and we share these eggs with my whole family and my husband's family too. We like doing that. It's fun for us, so $78 in feed costs is worth it to me. Very soon we plan to start selling the eggs because we have so much. Might as well, and that will help reduce the feed costs a little bit too. Another idea is to grow your own feed, or at least some plants and things that can supplement the feed and help vary their diet. Things like kale, mustard greens, moringa, field corn, sunflowers for their seeds, millet, and amaranth work really well. I have a chicken garden seed collection with a bunch of these seeds on my website if you want to give them a try. Sometimes we buy bags of sunflower seeds or cracked corn to give them some extra protein and carbs. Every now and then I throw them some dried cranberries, which they go crazy over. Feeding them flax seeds helps produce healthier eggs too. The yolk is a darker orange color when they eat a lot of flax seeds. And just like the automatic watering cans that I have, I made some automatic food dispensers using another old trash can. This keeps them fed for weeks, acts as a storage container, keeping it all dry, and keeps other critters like rodents out of it. Okay, so moving along, let's talk about egg laying boxes. It depends on the breed, but usually when a hen is around 4 to 6 months old, she will start laying eggs. That is if you start from baby chicks and raise them yourself. You can also purchase pullets, which are young hens that have just started laying eggs if you want to skip the whole raising little baby chicks thing. Hens need a safe and covered spot to lay eggs. I have had all sorts of different boxes and things for them to lay eggs in, and by far their favorite egg laying box is the one that I got from Hen Gear. I'm not sponsored by them, but you can use this discount code to save $15 off your order. Their products are very well made. I have had this thing since day one, about 2 years ago, and it still works perfectly years later. I needed a second egg laying box and bought this cheaper one from Amazon, but it's terrible. Broke within a few months and just doesn't have my chicken's favorite features. I see them fighting over who gets to lay in the Hen Gear box, and the loser will then go lay in this other box since they have no choice. You don't have to buy this exact box. There are so many ways you can build one. I'm just not that skilled at building things, so I prefer to buy one. People use old tires, milk crates, make boxes out of plywood. There's a million ways you can do it. A good rule of thumb is a ratio of 1 nesting box for every 4 chickens at minimum. The more the better though, because then they start to fight over them, and if a hen needs to lay an egg but the box is occupied, then she will go find another spot to lay the egg, which usually ends up being on the floor or some other corner in the coop, which also makes the eggs really dirty. So make sure you have plenty of egg laying boxes for them. The last basic necessity that I want to talk about is predator proofing to protect your flock. No matter where you're located, we all have various predators that would love to snack on some chickens. And trust me, at some point they will come. Chickens will attract them to the area, and once a predator has made a successful kill, they will keep coming back. So just some basics about predator proofing. At the bare minimum, the coop where the chickens go inside at night needs to be 100% predator proof. There can't be any holes or gaps where predators or rodents can come in. Do not use chicken coop wire for this. Chicken coop wire is not that strong. Predators can easily cut through it, and the holes are kind of big, so things like snakes can get in. Chicken wire is only good to keep chickens in, not to keep predators out. Use chicken wire in the run area only. When it comes to the coop, use hardware cloth instead. I highly recommend the 1/4 inch kind because it is small enough to keep snakes out too. How much you will need depends on the kind of coop you have. If you have walls and a roof, then you will need some to cover the windows and outside base perimeter. If you have an open style coop, like the coop I made out of the old PVC hoop greenhouse, then you will need to cover the whole thing. Whatever the coop, you will also need to cover the outside perimeter floor with the hardware cloth at least 1 foot out from the bottom of the walls. This prevents predators from digging a hole and coming inside of the coop. You could also make a coop that is lifted off the ground with a ramp so the chickens can get in to avoid using a lot of hardware cloth around the outside perimeter. My run area is made from T-post, where I zip tied hardware cloth to the very bottom portion, so the first like 4 feet from the bottom is a 1/4 inch hardware cloth. Then I attach chicken coop wire above that, so it's pretty tall. Chickens can fly out of fences that are about 6 feet or shorter. Then I purchased some heavy duty bird netting and draped it over the entire chicken coop and run area, which is what you see here, and it prevents the flying predators like hawks from getting in. If you're free ranging your chickens, then you don't need a run area, but no, predators will come for them during the day, especially hawks. All right, so that's all the basic requirements for having chickens. Can you meet those? If so, I really hope you decide to get some chickens. I am releasing more videos on the topic of raising backyard chickens that will help you with the next steps, like choosing the best chicken breed for your goals and where to get chickens or baby chicks. So stay tuned, because this video is one of many in my beginner raising backyard chicken series, and you'll want to check out my backyard chickens playlist, because that's where I'm going to add all of them as they get released. If you have any questions, advice for newbies, or just great backyard chicken ideas, please comment below. I love your comments because I learn a lot from them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.